right. Learning Bitcoin 2025 Vancouver. What's up, everybody? Feeling good? Good morning. Give me a signal, everybody out there. Good morning, my beautiful people. It's nice to see you. My name is Pablo, and we've got a heck of a day in store for you guys. Learning Bitcoin is something that we've been pioneering since last year. Started in Victoria, and now we're here in this wonderful city to try and do something different. Learning Bitcoin isn't about me on stage. It's actually about you guys sat around the tables. It's about my volunteers. It's about the things we're going to try and learn together. So I'm super happy to be kicking this off with you today. Shout out to our sponsors, CoinCards, who are our stage sponsor. I'm on CoinCards' stage sponsor right now. They have a booth as well if you want to find out how you can be using CoinCards to be able to use Bitcoin in your daily life to take care of purchases, get the things done you need to get done. CoinCard is definitely the way to go. Also, we have some really key players in the Bitcoin industry. I'm happy to represent Bull Bitcoin, who is one of the main sponsors here. We're an exchange based out of Montreal, helping you to buy and sell Bitcoin in the right way, which means self-custody. We're going to come to that in a bit. We've also got Blockstream, Coinos, and Damus. Now, all of these four sponsors behind me are going to be helping us do workshops throughout the next 2 days. And we're going to learn how these platforms can help you master Bitcoin, how they can ease the process, and what type of services they offer. So big shout out to all of our sponsors who are going to be helping us with the workshops. Very exciting. Also, shout out to the guys at the back, especially, can we give a round of applause for the lady making coffee for everybody right now? Yeah, this is, at this time of the day, in this type of situation, the coffee is very important. I hope you've all got one. Iron are our coffee sponsors, and we're very happy to have them on board and caffeine so we can plow through the day with vigor and passion. All right. So I'm just going to do a little opening about learning Bitcoin, what it is, what my vision is, what some of my expectations are for the day, and what we're going to do together, because this is very much a collective experience that we're going to try and forge today, and I'm super thrilled to be presenting this to you. So let's jump in. This quote is a quote that often gets cited when we're talking about education in Bitcoin. This is a quote by Satoshi Nakamoto, who said on an internet forum at one point, if you don't believe it or don't get it, I don't have the time to try and convince you. Sorry. Now, that doesn't sit right with me. But the question I want to explore is, do you think Satoshi Nakamoto was an educator or a simple innovator and visionary? I think Satoshi Nakamoto came up with one of the most beautiful instances of human invention ever made. And that's why I'm on the stage talking about Bitcoin to you today. It's thanks to Satoshi's efforts that we're able to come together and exchange sound money virtually on a peer-to-peer basis. However, it's not complete. This thing we call Bitcoin is not where we want it to be. And people in the Bitcoin space are talking more and more about education. And that's why I'm here. As a teacher, at an elementary school, at a secondary school, I've taught in England, I've taught in France, and I teach in Quebec, where I live right now. But what I was teaching was the English language, but I've just changed my language. Bitcoin is the most interesting subject I can be stood on stage talking to you about today. And that's why I've taken on this role to pioneer something called Learning Bitcoin, because Satoshi wasn't the educator. He was the visionary. He was the pioneer. He sparks the flame, but it's here on stage, and it's down there, more importantly, in the halls, at your meetups, in conversations with friends, family, and colleagues, that the real evangelization takes place. And a lot of Bitcoiners who've adopted Bitcoin themselves have this mentality, and this is also something that grinds my gears, the have fun staying poor. This trickles down from what Satoshi Nakamoto was saying of, if you don't get it, sorry, too bad, so sad. A lot of people who adopted Bitcoin also adopted this mentality of, have fun staying poor, which is a really flippant way of telling people, listen, I'm okay, I don't care about you. As an educator, that doesn't sit right with me. Bitcoin is a rising tide that lifts all boats, and that's why education is super important. And that's why I call myself an evangelist. This is St. John the Evangelist behind here with his laser eyes. And there's a reason why I call myself an evangelist when it comes to Bitcoin education. But we'll get to that in workshop number 1. I'll tell you why I have this vision. This, to me, is what Bitcoin education has looked like for a long time. It's the guy who's been listening to podcasts and delved down the rabbit hole, and he's understood Bitcoin, and you have to understand it, and he'll talk at you. At Christmas, at Thanksgiving, at a birthday, at any inopportune moment, the guy will be blasting your ear about Bitcoin and it's going to change your life. But that's not my approach. Another approach is this: blasting information until some of it sticks. It doesn't work. Also, a lot of Bitcoiners tend to not have the habit of saying no, because one question usually leads to a technical answer. And then that technical answer will lead to another question, which leads to another technical answer, which leads to another question. And before long, a 5-minute conversation has delved into 7 different subjects, and we've lost the person we're speaking to. The power of saying no is also a good way to educate people by saying, that's a great question, but we'll focus on that next week because it's quite a subject. I like to build in empathy into my education, because the have fun staying poor approach is not how we manage to win this fight against broken money. It's not how we end up transforming our communities and our environments in which we operate. It's not how we grow closer to each other, because money has separated us for so long. I honestly think Bitcoin can bring us together. But we as educators and we as Bitcoiners have to have that outreach. Not the have fun staying poor, not the sitting on Twitter, not the listening to the podcast, but actually getting out there and listening to people's stories. There's so many Bitcoiners out there who tell me about, hey, I was talking to this Uber driver. The Uber driver is the person you want to talk to a lot of the time, because they're going through whatever this person on the right's going through. And you want to listen to them, and you want to find out what their reality is. Because somewhere along the lines, Bitcoin will fix not everything, but something about what they're telling you. So you have to listen to it, so you can diagnose at the right time with the right words and the right thought how Bitcoin can be a solution to some of their problems. This is a really cool word. It's fancy. I like to put a fancy word once or twice in a presentation. This is synaptogenesis. This is what I feed off. This is what I love to do. This is why I teach. Synaptogenesis is creating new neural pathways in the brain. It's the aha moment. The oh. That's what I want to try and do today. What I want to try and deliver with my team of volunteers over there at the back is hopefully 1 or 2 people in this room will be like, oh, I get it now. I really want to drive towards that. And that's why I've been designing a series of workshops. Oh, I'll jump back one. That's why I've been designing a series of workshops which are going to do exactly that. Hopefully we're going to interact with each other, play some games. There'll be role plays, there'll be objects. You're all placed in tables right now, which are going to have lots of different materials to hopefully try and push you towards that, I get it now, moment. That's why we're here. So I thank you guys all for showing up. Also, I want to get this out of the way, because I'm not going to talk about any other cryptocurrency all day. And it may come up in conversations, and you're more than welcome to talk about alternative cryptocurrencies. But in my experience, the more you understand them, the more you gravitate towards Bitcoin only. And we're going to explore some of those reasons today. I want to save you a bit of time. We're just going to skip that middle lump on the bell curve. We're going to go straight to the Bitcoin only. If you master that, you'll understand why it is the solution to the broken money problem, and why it is the strongest, most decentralized and secure network on which we should be building our future. I'm not here to sell you Bitcoin, though. I'm not a sales guy. I don't work for Bitcoin. I work for a company that works in Bitcoin. But this is not a sales pitch. I'm not telling you all to remortgage your houses and cash in every other asset and go all in on Bitcoin. If you want to, go for it. But what I'm asking you to do is to be curious and try and think critically about what Bitcoin is and what role it could play in your life to increase quality, time, and relationships. Because that's what we're put here to do. Bitcoin is a tool. It's not a product. And I'm not here to sell it to you. I just want to help show the ways in which it can be a revolutionary technology that will help us all. You might be confused at some points today as well, and that's OK. I love confusion. Confusion and curiosity are my starting points as an educator. Somebody who's confused. We've got volunteers. We've got experts. We've got everybody around you right now. Everybody around you right now who will hopefully be able to answer any questions you have. I've also designed a way that you can show if you're understanding or not without having to risk your ego and ask me a question on stage. I don't want to put you on the spot. I don't want to make you embarrassed. I don't want to make you feel you haven't mastered anything. I want you to feel curious, and I want you to feel that today is the time when you can ask questions and you can level up. Whether you've been in Bitcoin for 10 days or 10 years, I'd like to make this a collective learning experience, and that's why we call it Learning Bitcoin. It's a wonderful thing. We're going to celebrate Bitcoin today by learning about it. I also want to say a shout to maybe some people who know Bitcoin. They're like, I get the blockchain. I understand hashing. I know how these things work. You might be a devout, full-time, Bitcoin-only, sovereign individual, and I congratulate you for that. So what do you get out of an event like this? Why are we going to do workshops? Why are we going to learn some of the basics? I'm not asking the experts to learn the basics because they know them. I'm asking the experts to think, could you teach the basics? Is something that we do today useful for your meetup, useful for your company, useful for the people you know to help illustrate what you've already mastered but you've been struggling to put down in words and in action? So if you're that person out there, think, is this something that I could integrate in the way that I talk to people about Bitcoin? The QR code's a little bit hidden right now, but I also believe in open sourcing everything. So everything we're going to be doing today will be available on GitHub. You can copy exactly what I do. You can modify it if you want. And you can take it to schools, businesses. You can do training activities. It would be my absolute honor if you were to do that. Do not feel embarrassed about copying or imitating anything I do today. That's my goal. I want to inspire change. And the way that we do that is through education often. So if I can share some education with you, and if I can change Bitcoin education with a few people who might be looking for some inspiration, let me know. For the people taking photos, this QR code will be back on the website at the end of the day. But I deliberately made it a bit blurry. I don't want to spoil some of the surprises of what I've got in store for you, OK? All right. My expectations. I want to set out some expectations. And we're not at school, even though I used to be a teacher. And I might call you my students, but there's no homework to do here. But I do have some expectations so we can maximize our time together. You guys have taken time out of your weekend. You spent some cash to be here. Let's make sure we make the most of the event. So my expectations, I'll start with myself. One of my expectations is that I deliver clearly and smoothly without using jargon or any complex words that might bamboozle people out there. I also want to take time to respond to any questions. I want to make sure I'm maximizing these wonderful volunteers who've given their time to help you guys. I want to make sure I get some time to be spending with each and every one of you so we can have a conversation about Bitcoin. My volunteers, wave your hands. Where are my volunteers at? Everybody look over. You can see I've got an army of volunteers here around waiting to help you guys out with what we're about to do. These are the bold adventurers who decided they wanted to embark on the journey and help us carry out Learning Bitcoin. My volunteers, I expect you guys to be circulating and available. You are the person that people are going to go to when they're stuck. Make sure that you're available, open, and ready to answer any question. You don't have to know the answer, but just be the person who can listen to the question and try and find some resources. Thank you for being here, guys. I appreciate my volunteers. Now to you guys, the audience. I'm going to start with my speakers, my VIPs, and the people who are on stage tomorrow or working a booth later on, or people who are in the industry, people who are known, people who are the A-listers. I expect you guys to want to participate with other people. This is a collective experience. I've deliberately sat you guys in round tables with 8 chairs around them. You'll get the most out of all of the workshops if your table's full. So if you're on an empty table, go and find a full one. Pull up a chair, meet some people, and sit down. There's no separation here between the Bitcoiners and the pre-coiners and the no-coiners. We're all here together. So if you're one of those people who might be on stage or working this event, have some fun. Take some time off. Meet some people who are learning Bitcoin with you. And then to my audience out there as well, the people who've shown up to participate in these workshops, one of my expectations is just that. We're going to be running through 6 different workshops today, and it'll be intensive, and you can take breaks, and there's no requirement to attend. However, the more participation we have, the more aha moments we're going to get, and that's what we want. I love you guys very much for taking time, for the curiosity, showing up, and wanting to take part in something that's not your regular conference. It took you guys a little bit of courage, a little bit of foresight, and a little bit of imagination to be like, let's sit down and do some workshops. I don't want to sit at home with my podcasts. I don't want to be scrolling Twitter. I want to be here in this room learning about Bitcoin. So I really appreciate you guys showing out. This is an absolute privilege for me to be on stage with you guys. I've been working super hard to make sure that this is a success. So let's try and deliver something amazing together. Housekeeping. Housekeeping, we're going to have a little break for lunch. There'll be a 30-minute break, at which point you can go and grab some lunch. There's exits at the back over there. There's the washrooms on the right-hand side. The coffee is open all the time. And each workshop's going to run for about an hour. Shout out again to all of our sponsors. We'll be covering different things throughout the day. But if you have any questions, ask our volunteers. They're also here for your comfort, and make sure you have everything you need. If anybody wants to mess around, as a teacher, I used to hate this, but if anybody wants to be texting at the back of the class, you can use BitChat. BitChat is a brand new application that was launched by Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, only a few weeks ago. So if you want to join an online discussion whilst we're all here in a local area, you can try BitChat and use that out. That's mainly for my Bitcoiners who want to geek away on something. If you find you've got your fidgety fingers, jump onto BitChat and chat with some other people online. And that's my intro. We're going to look, in the next few minutes, I'm going to take a 5-minute. We're going to distribute some materials out, and then we're going to get started with our next workshop. But I'd like to welcome you all to Learning Bitcoin 2025. I'd like to thank you for being here. And I'd like to set the stage for something which will be a pioneering way that we can all learn about Bitcoin together. My name's Pablo, and I'm very excited about what's to come. Thank you very much.